Hi, everyone. It's Kristin Sullivan with Just As Planned, the wedding podcast where we help brides and grooms to learn all about the new trends and talk with our preferred professionals in the industry to share their stories and their products. Today, I'm super excited to have Brian Franklin with me from Vows and Speeches. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, good to be here. Thanks. I'm well.
Last time I saw you, you were in Las Vegas. I know you were hailing from the LA area, so thanks
Right.
for spending some time with us today. I was so excited to meet you in Vegas at Wedding MBA because it was very interesting to hear what you are doing. I'm going to let you share with our guests all about your journey and how you became to help out on these wedding parties.
Sure. So we have a company that provides custom written vows. We write wedding speeches for those in the wedding party, help them write wedding speeches, essentially ghostwriting with them. And for new officiants, for people perhaps that haven't done a wedding before or that are doing it but want to do it less generically, we help them write custom scripts. So it's a fairly new service for the wedding industry. There have been some people that have done it, but most of the planners and venues that I've talked to have never heard of it, and so it's a new niche, and we're excited to hopefully be leading it.
Yeah, it's so great. It flashes me back to the Wedding Planner movie where J-Lo's speaking into her little headpiece, and the best man is basically relaying what she's telling him, and that's in a sense what you're doing. You're helping there's a few great things you're doing. You're helping the bride and groom to write their vows if they're not writers, which obviously you have a very extensive history in writing, so it's easy for you. But for some people, it's really hard to even just write out a card.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody is a great writer or a great public speaker. Some people that even the ones that may have trouble, like if you're writing your own vows, they may have trouble just wrapping their arms around it. It's too big, there's too much emotion. So it helps to have somebody that's not as emotionally tied to the situation to write it. But then, again, in regards to wedding speeches, those have the potential of being disastrous. And, every wedding planner that's experienced has a story or stories of wedding speeches that have gone wrong, either by virtue of somebody saying something embarrassing or them just going on too long or rambling. At worst, they are disastrous, and more often they're just weak. And our hope, it's a part of the wedding that a lot of people love to see and love and love to hear. And our hope is to make those sections more powerful and more entertaining, and where appropriate, funnier. I think some people that are doing wedding speeches think that this is their opportunity for stand-up, and it's really, while you can be funny and you can be very funny, it's important to keep your eye on the goal, which is to make the bride the couples, whether it's a bride and groom or two brides or two grooms, make sure that they're comfortable and happy and enjoying it, and it's their show. So we just want to make sure that these are powerful moments, and that they hit the way that the couple would like them to hit, and that they're not subject to disaster.
Which, yes, unfortunately, we have all seen this.
Yeah.
As a planner for 25 years, I have pulled the plug a few times on microphones.
Oh yeah.
That's never fun and never easy. To walk up there awkwardly, and we sometimes do it as the power has gone out, or something's happened. The poor DJ or the band get blamed, but it's
Right.
to save face, right? So,
but I've heard stories. I've heard stories where some planners or DJs who might be running the reception in those cases feel uncomfortable doing that. That maybe it's the person, maybe it could be the person that has paid for the wedding, or simply somebody very important that they're just worried about offending. And so, I think the bigger thing that the more common thing is that somebody just gets too many drinks in them, right? And they just don't nail it, right? And they start going off the rails. And I think, our goal in those situations is to make sure that they have a script that's 3 to 5 minutes, maybe most likely 3, that's in front of them, that they can have in their hands, in large enough font where they could see it, not on a phone, of course, because you don't want the lighting coming up from below, and something that they can see and read. And that way, if they've had 15 bourbons, that at least there's some kind of box around the whole thing, and they can, there's a beginning and an end to it, and it's something they've worked on. It's a great process for the couples when we're doing vows. They love doing it. It's a 30-minute interview where they basically get to talk about their relationship and all the things that they love about it, and they love about the person that they're marrying. And so it's great fun with, with the speeches part of it. It's likewise, it's all fun stories, and it's an enjoyable process, and we just want to make it so that in the end result is fun for everybody, especially the couple that might be paying for it.
So you do actually meet with, if it's the vow side, you're actually meeting with the couple first to dive into a little bit of their history. And
yeah.
So that could be anywhere.
So it's all over the phone or on Zoom. So we'll have a quick call to say, hey, okay, what kind of wedding is this? Tell me about the tone of the wedding. Do you want it, is there a religious aspect to it? Do you want it very straightforward? Do you want it, something different than normal? Do you want it funny? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to be really funny? And because some people want their wedding to be a laugh a minute, right? And most people want it to be somewhere in between, right? They want it to have some elements of humor and mostly romantic. And so we start by a real quick call with the couple to say, hey, what kind of wedding this is. And then I schedule a 30-minute call with each of them to get all the raw materials. And so the end result is really something that it's largely their words. It's going to be something that comes from them, and we just help arrange it and package it. And there will be times where we'll add to it, but of course we're adding based on the things that they have said to us, and perhaps adding some flourishes. But they're the ones giving us the raw materials. We just kind of assemble it.
And so the other side is the best man or maid of honor, or even father of the bride speeches. Mm-hmm. And do the bride and groom or couple have say or input? Do they see that, or is that all kind of super secret until wedding day?
I don't think. Short of, I guess it depends on if the couple is paying for it and they really want to make sure that it's okay with them. I suppose they're the ones paying for it, so we'd have to observe that. But I think for the most part, you want to preserve the element of surprise here, and put trust that in us, as in Vows and Speeches, that we will make sure that there's nothing that's really embarrassing or offensive, and that sort of thing. But in the end, it's the person speaking. It's their responsibility to make those decisions, and some of them, I suppose, could make bad ones. But if there's something really, really questionable, we'll block it.
Which I'm sure is very much appreciated. And you mentioned earlier, even for people that are new officiants, I hadn't thought about that aspect of it, in that there are so many people that are doing spiritual ceremonies or non-religious ceremonies, and they're asking friends or family members or colleagues to, for the first time, become ordained online and perform a ceremony. And I've had a few challenges where the officiant will forget to ask people to sit down, and then so the photography becomes a little bit of a challenge. So I love that that's also an option that we can offer officiants that we know have never performed a ceremony before, because it's not the same as just speaking to a group. It's really nerve-wracking. Yeah,
and I officiated a few weddings myself, and the first time that I did it, I looked online, and like everyone else does, and what are the elements of a wedding that you have to make sure that you do, and remember to do the ring part, and make sure you the kiss part, and there's certain things that have to be in there, of course, and those that are experienced will know, okay, everybody please sit down, and announcing the couple as they walk out, and that sort of thing. And so it helps to have somebody guide you. But I think that my approach to ceremonies is that this is an opportunity to explain to the audience why we're here. This is not just let's just do the ceremony. This is an opportunity to tell a story. Many of the people in the audience might not have even met one part of the couple, right? They might have flown in from out of town because they're family. So this is a great time to tell the story of the couple, tell some of the things about them. I like to ask the couple a lot more questions about what they like and about each other, and get really into the weeds of that, and put that into the ceremony, and add a few more laughs, and again set the tone of the whole thing. And then you can go in, if they want vows, then you can go into vows. Otherwise, you just perform the ceremony and get straight to the cocktails.
As we know, is very, very important.
Absolutely.
So you said 3 to 5 minutes is typically the length that you suggest for the speeches. And how about vows? Is there a set? I mean, for
me, if they're doing their own vows, a minute or two at most. I think after that it gets a little bit drawn out and tired. On the speeches side of things, going back a second, I mean, I think 3 minutes is perfect. 5 minutes is possible, but you have to have a really good speaker to do 5 good minutes. And so as we do it, we'll have a sense, is this somebody that's really going to nail it, that they're a natural public speaker and they're telling a story that might take a few extra seconds to get through, and then otherwise, if they're not that great of a speaker, or you can tell that they don't have that much to say, then let's just keep it to 3 minutes at max, and maybe they're not that great of a reader, right?
Yeah.
They might not be good at reading something off a page. I've run into that once or twice. So where you have to revise the script to make sure it's something that they can get through comfortably. So, but yeah, 1 to 2 minutes on the vows, 3 to 5 minutes, preferably 3 on the speeches. On the ceremony side of things, I like it under 10 minutes myself. I mean, I think that you don't need to go that much further, especially if they're doing their own vows. But that's up to the couple. If they want to extend it with passages and things like that, then of course it's their show.
I've seen where they add in music and readers and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's, again, you risk timing and losing people, and depending on the elements.
Might be hot out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The ceremony is fraught with danger, right? And it's a nervous moment, that it is the moment for the couple, and everybody's buzzing, and so sometimes you just want to just swing it and hit it.
I had a group, the bride and groom, that came in from California to Nashville this past weekend, and with the intention of it being a cooler wedding. They didn't want to be married in the hot heat, so they thought, a little bit on the cooler side. Well, what they didn't expect is that we experienced the tornadoes this past weekend, and with that came a lot of wind and a lot of cool, damp weather. And so all of these Californians, much like yourself, were freezing, sitting there, with a 20-minute ceremony planned. I was speaking to the officiant, which happened to be the bride's twin sister. And she said, I've got to cut this short. People are going to be so cold. They're already out there freezing.
Yeah.
And so you have to always think of those things. And, if you're thinking of a 30-minute ceremony, cutting it back to 10 minutes is probably a good idea when you're in these situations. So having help with that is so appreciative. It's
a little, all the little things, right? I mean, from your work in creating preparatory kits, I had a person that was giving a speech, and it happened to be raining that day, and the rain started to wash away the ink on the paper that she had printed out. So it even helps to have like a backup to that, whether it, electronic or even another set of papers, just to make sure that, something happens, you're ready for it.
I always ask for copies of the vows. I don't share them with anyone unless I'm told to, but I said I always need 2 copies. Whether you have one of the couple putting it in their pocket, or the officiant having a backup stuck in a book, it's exactly what I've seen happen. I've seen a piece of paper literally blow out of someone's hand, and they're like, "Ah." So you never know until you've been through it. I mean, obviously I've been through it a lot, so I understand. So people can reach out to you. I imagine you're on all social media outlets, but it's Vows and
Yeah. So it's
Speeches.com.
Vows and Speech, AND Speeches. On the website, it's vowsandspeeches.com. VOWSAND Speeches, SPEECHES. And then the same on Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect.
And
And we
yeah,
will
no, we're
post.
just getting, we're getting started, but we're having a lot of fun, and it's been a riot. It really has.
I bet it's fun. I bet it's really, I love hearing people's stories. It's obviously one of the first things that I ask them. So I
Mhm.
imagine that you have a lot of fun with it, learning about them and what they want to share with everyone.
Yeah, it's really fun. Sometimes you run into people that aren't used to sharing their deepest emotions with strangers, right? So you have to ask questions a certain way just to get them to elaborate, and once they do, it's great. It's just fun.
Yeah, the floodgates open, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, then they're saying things that the other partner can't believe they said, but they did. They think I wrote it, but I didn't. It's great.
Oh, that would be, to me, that's the part I love, is seeing, what each other did right. It's obviously a very emotional time anyway, but
Yeah.
to uncover that is very raw and very vulnerable and can be scary, I would imagine, if you don't know what's being written.
Yeah, especially if you're in front of 100 and something people, right? And somebody's talking about it a certain way. But these are, I look, they're called vows, and they often include them, but they're really more declarations of love, and that's, I think, just something that you can, if you don't talk about what went wrong, then I think you pretty much can't go wrong. So
And is it just yourself, or you have other writers with you?
we have other writers. I've my one of my partners has the exact same background as I do. We both come from political speech writing and political communications, and so we've been doing that for a long time. And believe me, working with politicians is much less fun, and significantly harder. But yeah, we work with him, and then we have other writers that to help us if when we get stacked, and then my wife also is partnered with us and helps with sales and administrative work. So
That's wonderful. And
yeah,
we
that's great
will,
stuff.
just for everyone watching, we'll be posting all of the ways that you can reach out to Brian and to connect with him in our podcast notes as well. Brian, where did you get married?
I got married in Huntington Beach, and at the waterfront Hilton there. And ironically, we didn't write our own vows.
That was my next question.
We did have a great ceremony. It was fun. It was short because we wanted to get straight to the cocktails, but but we were short but sweet. But we didn't write our own vows. It was like, yes, yep, we're in. Okay, let's do this. Okay, straight to the cocktails. Yeah. But so it's kind of funny we're in this business, but it's good stuff.
Well, yes, I understand that. The only reason I'm in this business is because my wedding went horribly wrong, and I vowed to never let that happen to anyone.
Oh
no. Yeah, I'm with you. And so if somebody wants to do a package, they can do that. That's an option.
Yeah, for the planners out there, there's different ways to do it. I mean, some of the planners that we're working with, actually not just planners and venues as well. Some of the planners and venues we're working with are actually taking or inserting either the vows and the speech, or the vows which could be substituted for a speech if they weren't doing their own vows, putting it as part of their packages. But if they want to do a package price, which is a lot of couples do, they want to do their own vows, and then they'll help some or all of their wedding party with the speeches, then we'll come up with a custom price for them that's discounted accordingly.
Okay, fantastic. We love it. I love that you're going to be included in our trend report for 2022 as well, because I think this is definitely going to be a trend that people are going to start taking advantage of. It's one less thing off their plate, and it
takes the anxiety away, right? Yeah.
It does. People get so nervous about this part. And when I always look at grooms walking down the aisle, and if they have to try to remember something, I'm like, don't torture yourself.
Yeah.
Just read it.
Well, you meant in mentioning that, I think it's one part that we didn't discuss is that it's really important for the couples to practice, if they're doing the couples or the whoever's speaking, as part of the speeches, to spend time practicing it and reading it out loud. And one of the things we do as part of our service is a quick session where they'll read it to us and we'll provide some feedback. Hey, you might want to emphasize this word for comedic effect, or slow down here, or this section's not really working as well, so let's make a tweak here. But the delivery is really important, and especially with the vows, when you're so emotional, you want to have read it enough times to where you can read it comfortably, almost off the top of your head, but at least not where it sounds like you're reading it for the second time. And that way, when you get shaky and when you're so emotional, and you can get through it a little bit easier. So that's one of the things that we do is help practice that. But from a timing standpoint, while we could do emergency sessions where somebody calls us, we need to write something super quick, it's better, and we could do that within a day or two. It's much better for planners to help the couples, or the venues to help the couples build in enough time to where they will actually be able to practice it. It's familiar enough to them, and then they can have it's not worry about the performance quite as much.
It is always something I try to get people to start thinking about, at least a couple of months out. I said, just jot down a few words and you're going to get stuck, and you just have to keep going. So now it's nice that I can say, listen, I've got a resource for you. You're not going to have to get stuck.
Yeah, that's us. We're happy to help.
So, well, that's so great. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Whole mission is for people's weddings to go just as planned, and we are providing resources for all aspects of the wedding to help people. And so you are obviously a very key and important part of the wedding.
It's great. It's great to hear that. And Kristin, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon, and happy holidays.
Same to you.